advisors, I'm super excited to introduce you to Elements in Real Life. This is a series of videos we're putting together to help you better understand how to do financial planning with Elements. Each week, Elements advisors will take real client questions and show you how they use the vital signs to provide real advice. So check it out, and of course, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome back to another Elements in Real Life. My name is Brandon Galici. I'm a certified financial planner and founder of Galici Financial, and I'm joined by Scott Frank.
Hey guys, I'm Scott Frank. I'm the founder of Stone Steps Financial and excited to geek out on Elements.
Yeah, so today, Scott, we've got some sample clients coming to us, Ron and Diane Swanson. For the Parks and Rec fans out there, we'll get that even further, but they're coming to us today wondering, can they afford to retire? So with that, let's go ahead and pull up their scorecard.
Let's do it, man. Yeah, and I think this is one of those things where you think like, can I use Elements with retiree clients? And I think the answer is absolutely yes. But yeah, take us away on what the Elements are telling us so far.
Yeah, so just for some context, they're both 65 years old. And I know, at least for me, whenever I'm looking if someone can afford to retire, I'm really focused on the bottom row, the term elements right here. And typically we say the total term net worth divided by annual living expenses of 25 to 30 is sufficient to retire. So at first glance, it looks like, ooh, they might be a little bit short, but I know, Scott, you've got some ideas on how they might be able to afford retirement, even though it doesn't maybe look like it at initial glance.
Absolutely. So the thing that I think about, the simplest way to handle this, in my opinion, let me know if you feel differently. But to me, what I would do is get a sense of what their after-tax flows are going to be from any guaranteed income. So in this instance, probably Social Security, right? If we were to turn on Social Security today, what annual spend would the portfolios or the balance sheet really need to support?
Yeah, nope, 100% agree with that, Scott. And then even how an advisor would do that in Elements, we'll click over here. So this is the main portal, the web portal that advisors are going to have access to. And then for sake of this, I put it inside of the notes what their current living expenses were, but then also, and we'll just assume this is an after-tax number just for sake of simplicity, but their expected Social Security between the two of them is going to be about $50,000. So just as you were saying, Scott, I'm going to go over here and essentially put that guaranteed income into your annual spending, since they really need only $50,000 in this case to pull from their portfolio, which is exactly the point that you brought up. So look at how simple this is. Add 50,000 into here, and then watch these elements update with my internet, and voila! All of a sudden, their total term score goes up to 44.
They did it.
Yeah. 20 of that's in qualified, 8 even in their liquid term score, and then this is a primary residence. So if you're seeing this scorecard for the first time, I'm feeling really confident to say, hey, Ron and Diane, you got 2 thumbs up from me. We're going to continue to monitor this, but you guys are looking really sufficient from a retirement planning perspective.
Yeah, and just to kind of focus in on this, if you haven't used Elements before, what's happening here is they are literally saying, like, Brandon, you want to put over like the LT score real quick? I think it'll show it. So it's literally saying underneath, okay, you have 400K liquid assets and you spend 50. That's 8 years of assets. Well, like, just remember, guys, that everyone talks about, you can have your own rule, whether it's the 4% rule or a dynamic spending rule, but if you get to about anywhere between 25, which would be a 4%, or 30 years, which would be 3.3% spending of assets, you're probably financially free. So yeah, that's awesome, man. Looks good.
Yeah. And even here too, because I know some people aren't going to count their real estate term if it's all in the primary residence, or at least for me, how I think about it is, as if their total term wasn't high, or if the majority of their net worth was inside their real estate term, most likely we're looking at a conversation, hey, we might have to use some of this home equity for retirement. But again, that's not really the case here, because they've got almost 28 of it in their liquid term, and then qualified term, which of course, since they're over 65, no problems accessing that. So
totally. Yeah, it looks good, man. Is there anything else on the card that you'd want to address with them?
Anything that you specifically want to address? Nothing.
The only thing that I see that
me
jumps out at me is if they're going to shift to retiring, we might want to touch in on equity rate. I'm actually comfortable with equity rates like that, but they might feel that it's a little high given what they're about to step into. The good old traditional 60-40. Will that make sense for them or not? Right. But
Yeah.
I just love how easily you can look at a Elements scorecard and you can start to diagnose things that you want to talk to your clients about.
Yeah, absolutely. And this would have taken 10 to 15 minutes, not even, if we had all the data to enter it in ourselves, or I'm having a lot of my clients enter the data in on their end. So even less time from my perspective. And what do we not have to do? Make all sorts of assumptions, go into projections, spend 50 minutes or however long it takes to add all their stuff in, and then come back and say, hey, Ron and Diane, you have a 97.294% chance of not running out of money, versus, hey, you've got 44 years, 28 of which are very accessible. What are your thoughts? And then it kicks off that meaningful conversation in a way that clients actually understand and instills confidence, because it's like we're giving them permission to retire at this point. Not that they necessarily need it. Oftentimes that's what they're coming to us for. But I think it's not just that permission piece, but we're objectively teaching them something and showing them. It's not just Scott and Brandon being optimistic. Oh yeah, you guys are fine to retire. It's, hey, you're fine to retire because you have 28 years quickly accessible. Now they can start to get it, and it just makes the conversation easier, makes our lives easier, makes the clients' lives easier, reduces their stress, and all around just so much fun having these conversations.
Absolutely. Yeah, I too have clients update their own data because they're the ones who have the links to it, right? So they get to link it up through Plaid on the back end. They see it, we see it. It's so helpful, and it reduces all the back and forth, which is great. Yeah,
Absolutely.
very cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Scott, this was a ton of fun. And thanks everyone for watching. Drop us a comment to let us know what kind of questions you have about Elements, what we should show next. And we will see you next week on another Elements in Real Life here on YouTube.
So, what did you think about that? We'd love to hear your thoughts about how we answered that question. Do you think that you would have answered it differently? Comment below and let us know. Now, if you have a scorecard that you want us to dissect, or a client question you want answered using Elements but aren't sure how, send us the client's one-page plan to cs@getelements.com, and we hope to catch you next time.